Can Moneyball be used in football? The Moneyball concept is built around the baseball theory of putting players on base at a higher rate, leading to more runs, which of course means more victories, a theory which is heavily backed by statistical data. But how does this work in football, and can it work in Football Manager? There are cases of teams using this approach. The recent success of Brentford can be associated back to how they sign players, finding hidden gems, and turning them into some of the best players in the Premier League. So we are going to use this exact approach with Dutch club FC Groningen. One of the founding members of the Eredivisie have recently come under hard times, relegated to the second tier in 2023 with just 4 wins in 34 matches. However, last season they finished runners-up in the Eredivisie, gaining promotion back to the top flight using a squad heavily devised of their fantastic youth system. Thanks to the swiftly promotion, the club is financially stable and has zero debt, but is in no way a financial powerhouse. They are, however, blessed with some fantastic facilities, with 4-star in both youth and training. As you can see, they have helped to progress centre-back / central defensive midfielder Tijmen Blojkil, who has superb, well-rounded stats for just an 18-year-old, standing out as one of our best players, and Stege Riesing, a 20-year-old Dutch central defensive midfielder with a similar well-rounded nature, and of course, a 5-star potential. The potential of this FC Groningen squad, though, does not stop there, as we have a whole host of 5-star youth prospects ready to impact the squad in years to come. Of course, they're going to have to prove themselves in youth squads or go out on loan to get their opportunity here. Our starting striker is 21-year-old Romeo Postema. He again has some very well-rounded stats, but seems like he might lack that striker killer instinct. So we have developed a system which makes him more of a link-up man, a 4-2-3-1 using a deep lying forward who attempts to get the free and behind more involved in the game, a strong defensive midfield base using youth and experience in Joel Pelopessi and Riesing, with an incredibly exciting defensive system deploying a stopper-cover defensive duo. And of course, to make the save more realistic and more difficult, we have disabled the first transfer window for the first season so we can get right into the season back in the Eredivisie, where we are predicted to come down in 13th place. Not bad for a recently promoted side. Our first game of the season was certainly one we felt we could win, a home fixture against Willem II. Even the media predicted we would be the team on top. We went into the game with high hopes in our 4-2-3-1 system, and Willem matched us up in the exact same. It took over 20 minutes to see our first chance, but it came from some superb link-up play on the right-hand side before a great save. That right-hand side caused them issue after issue, as again, in the 30th, we came close with a back post header just over the bar. That was half-time, no breakthrough yet, and we would struggle to find the breakthrough as throughout the second half, we missed chance after chance and the game finished 0-0. And of course, the game wasn't just going to be a ball draw. Of course, we saw an injury to our star central defence midfielder Riesing for over 3 months. Not exactly what we were looking for. Our form wasn't a pretty picture either, as we lost our next game before scraping a 1-0 victory to finish off August. There is, however, a clear issue at the club. We just cannot score goals, so we have ever so slightly tweaked the tactic to be slightly more direct and put the right winger on an attacking duty. And while that certainly had an impact, as just 21 minutes into our away fixture against Go Ahead Eagles, we had a lovely free-throwing goal before a superb finish from Blojkil to find the top corner. We were pegged back over by a superb counter-attacking goal, but in the dying moments of the game from a long ball sent into the box, bounced around before finding its way to Tijmen Oosting to grab what must be the winner. Sadly not, as Enric Lozana scores with the last kick of the game. It was, however, good to see some goals from our end, especially from Blojkil, who seems to be progressing into a real superstar. We did grab 3 points away from home against Almere and went unbeaten in September, leaving us in 8th place. Next up was a huge game against Ajax. Obviously, as one of the best teams in the league, we made some tactical tweaks, dropping to a more stable, compact 4-3-3 system. Our plan was working to perfection as we scored a deflected free kick just 20 minutes in, and that was all the action right up until the 82nd minute, where Ajax grabbed an equaliser. The game finished 1-1, which was a decent result despite the heartbreaking late goal. Even though 1-1 against Ajax was a fantastic result, we were certainly struggling. We hadn't won a game in the Eredivisie in 4 games, and we dropped down to the bottom half. The problem we had was our severe lack of goals. Our starting striker Postema had just 1 goal in 11 games, and our backup also had just the 1 goal. Our top goal scorer was a 16-year-old wonder kid called Yenio Holder. While it's great to see his progression, it's not ideal for him to be carrying us on the goal front. This meant I was on the search to find a striker in January and could finally put our Moneyball methods to test. From this, I found two key candidates. Number one was 29-year-old Jordi Sanchez. He ranked in the 85th percentile as an all-out attacker and would cost us just £1 million. However, I wasn't convinced in his potential resale value and his lack of link-up stats. So we quickly turned our attention to Giovanni Bolivar, also an 85th percentile attacker, but this time just 22 years of age. He had scored 11 goals in 13 games, he had some fantastic finishing, good consistency, and he likes big matches. But sadly he was out on loan, and he was certainly someone to keep an eye on for next season. This meant that the striker search had to wait until the summer, but that didn't stop us from doing some business in January, as we're now looking at our right wing position, where we found 23-year-old Malian international Ibrahim Kane. He suits the link-up aspect of the role incredibly well, with good passes completed per 90, great high press stats showing key tackles and interceptions, while also scoring 5 goals in 15 games. So we bit the bullet and made our first signing. Welcome to FC Groningen, Ibrahim Kane. He slots right into the tactic from day one. And our form recently was certainly reason to be excited, as we saw a gradual increase in goals in December and an unbeaten January. Kane even had a massive part to play in our victory over PSV in the Dutch Cup, which sees us head to the Dutch Cup quarter-finals, where we were facing NAC Breda away from home, a team we could certainly beat and get to the semi-finals. We got off to a fantastic start, as Kane found Postema 1-1, but a poor finish kept the game level. But then, disaster struck, as Kane had to be taken off injured in just 26 minutes, and we never quite recovered, as NAC scored a free kick to make it 1-0 and quickly made it 2 after a ball in behind. We were dumped out of the cup and lost our star man for 5 weeks. Great. This was then followed up by some poor results, including a 4-1 loss to FC Utrecht at home, a 4-4 draw against AZ Alkmaar, and a 1-0 loss against FC Twente. Surprisingly, this sees us sit in 8th place, where we were quite some way off Europe, but clear of the relegation threat. Considering we were predicted to come 13th at the start of this season, we'll certainly take that. However, there was something that I didn't know. The league rules. Teams that finish between 6th and 9th get a chance at a European playoff for the Europa Conference League, a competition that we would very much like to be involved in. While we had some topsy-turvy form to finish off the season, we eventually finished in 7th place, securing this playoff spot. We'll be facing up against Fortuna Sittard, and we absolutely smoked them, with an early goal coming on the left flank from Prinz, a second from a low-driven cross and finished off by Postema, and the same again for the third. A convincing 3-0 victory set it up against FC Utrecht. We had a full-strength team ready to take our European spot. Utrecht lined up in a 14-3-1, attempting to stop the mighty Groningen. We got off to a fantastic start though, with a lovely corner routine finished off by Oosting. Utrecht went close, hitting the post just before half-time, but at the halfway point, we were ahead. And it didn't take us long to grab a second, as Oosting this time grabs a super assist, setting up Postema. We were in the driving seat. Well, that was until a backstick header from Milgers made it 2-1. Momentum was in their favour, but not for long, as from kickoff we built a fantastic move, eventually finished off by Leandro Bacuna, but that was disallowed, and Twente scored to make the game 2-2. We knew we deserved this win, and that passion came out as in the 89th minute we scored again, only for it to be disallowed again. This wasn't going to be our day, was it? A final chance, the 92nd minute, the ball comes out to Paulus Abraham, who scores, and we are heading to Europe. FC Groningen had done it. In just season 1, we had secured European football. We had some serious improvements we made if we were going to compete in the Europa Conference League and the Eredivisie. We were one of the best teams in the press, but that was about it. We had the worst shots on target ratio in the whole league, which showed our poor finishing ability and killer instinct. The data hub clearly shows that we were doing okay defensively. This isn't something I'm too worried about as of our high potential back line. Our top goal scorer this season was Tijs Oosting, who bagged 12 goals cutting in from the left flank. However, our best player was in fact Ibrahim Kane, who dropped an impressive 6.94 average rating over 14 games, grabbing 2 goals and 4 assists. It was clear to see though that our striker and central attacking midfield roles goals were just not working. There wasn't enough goals being scored. Maybe it's because our current striker doesn't have the link-up ability, and he's not really replacing that with the goals either. While no one really impressed in the cam role, despite heavy rotation and opportunity. This though is where the fun starts. This is where we get into the Moneyball scouting method, finding hidden gems, players performing at a fantastic value for bargain prices. This is where Moneyball starts. Before we get into that though, make sure you are smashing the like button if you are enjoying this new story style series. We're hopefully going to be releasing around one of these every a couple of months, so if you are enjoying it, make sure you're subscribing. Of course, smashing the like button so I know you guys enjoy this style. Our financial situation isn't fantastic. You can see we heavily rely on competition prize money, which puts a lot of pressure on the team to succeed. We do have just under £3 million in transfer funds available, but only 8,000 in wage budget, which means we need to offload players and send out a lot of our younger players out on loan to bring in some income. Every time I go into a brand new season, I sort my team out looking at the tactics screen, which positions need improving and where we are looking to make a lot of upgrades. Most notably, a new striker, someone to feed him, and a defensive improvement to help keep the goals out. And well, we started our transfer journey looking at the central attacking midfield position, one of the most important in the whole system. We had two options that stood out. Number one was 22-year-old Serbian Peter Stanic. He scored 9 goals, grabbed 5 assists, and finished last season with a 7.03 average rating. He excelled in front of goal, but maybe wasn't the creative genius we were looking for. So we found 28-year-old Đorđe Ivanović. He had a great performance last season with a 7.19 average rating while having 17 goal contributions. He was performing in the top 10% in shots per 90 and assists per 90, so he was the real package. So we went ahead and we signed him for just £1.1 million from Sakaci. We now had someone to help the striker with scoring goals, but of course also assisting them. Well, we actually needed a striker that could finish them chances, and of course the one we were looking at last season was Giovanni Bolivar. We scouted him intensely, but sadly he chose to move to Empoli in the Serie A. So we turned our attention to 6'2" Norwegian striker Braut Bruns, who has elite consistency. You can see from his stats he isn't amazing at the link-up play, but he is one of the best finishers around, finishing in the 96th percentile in goals per 90. Of course, a bagsman is exactly what we needed, so he signed for us for just £2 million, 2 signings and 2 massive improvements. We moved our attention to the defensive side of the field and looked at our goalkeeping options. We had 4 of them: Samuel Brolin, Hobby Verhulst, Lovre Kalinic and Christopher Fearman. The man that stood above everyone else, not just in size, was 6'8" Swedish goalkeeper Samuel Brolin. He ranks in the 94th percentile in saves per 90 and cost us just £2 million. And with an added bonus, he has 18 area reach and 19 jumping reach. So we have a shot-stopping giant signed for £2 million. And the signing to protect him at centre-back was going to be Fredrik Winther. The 23-year-old Danish centre-back was playing for Hammarby, where he averaged a 7.07 average rating, and he cost us just £2.1 million. And when it was time to move on to the final position, the right-back position. But the only issue we had is we had spent all of our money. The budget was completely depleted. Well, there was a little bit left, because we found Danny Mora. He was just 26 years of age, but would cost us just £130,000. It was clear from looking at his stats, he wasn't perfect, but he was someone we could rely on to play a progressive system and also defend to a high level. So he joined us for the next day for just £135,000. Overall, our transfer business had risen to £7.5 million, which is a lot considering we haven't managed to raise a lot of money. However, as we progress our club through the ranks, our players will be worth more money, which means we sell them for more money, and we continue to sign players for cheap, so our overall transfer spend will eventually come down. That was the team complete though. With our new goalkeeper and 2 defenders, we look defensively strong, the spine of the team in central defensive midfield, and our wingers stay from last season, but we add our deadly duo in Ivanović and Brunas to the attack. And with the board clearly thought we were doing a fantastic job as well, as they offered a brand new contract to us, which of course we accepted. The media are predicting a very similar season to last season, where we finished down in 10th place, and that's where they expect us to finish this season. With our European football, you can see why they would write us off. But with Moneyball, you never underestimate us. However, we may have got ahead of ourselves, as we actually have to qualify through Europe through the playoff places. And first up, we faced up against Luzern in the 3rd round, where we absolutely battered them. We went 1-0 up thanks to a lovely sweeping move for the first, before we scored back-to-back corners that eventually found the net to make it 3-0. The final was a showing of Braut Bruner's pure strength and determination to grab the fourth and see us into the final playoff round against Hapoel Beersheva, where we conceded early on before levelling things up inside 20 minutes, and then we eventually got humbled, conceding 4 goals and could only score 1 for ourselves, meaning we were knocked out of European football, which clearly we just weren't ready for yet. So again, this year was going to be all about the Eredivisie and the Dutch Cup, and next season could be about European football, but we've got to qualify there first and we've got to start the season strong. The first game of the Eredivisie was away from home against Fortuna Sittard, one we would have certainly struggled in last season. We set up in our trusty 4-2-3-1 with 5 debutants kicking off the season, and it's safe to say luck was on our side as a deflected effort from Fredrik Winther found the back of the net just 4 minutes in. Sittard had their chances as Groningen was tested throughout the first half, but a scream of a free kick from Riesing found the top corner for 2-0. We nearly saw Braut Bruner grab his first of the season as well, but he was taken back for offside, but that didn't matter. 2-0 away from home to start a season is probably the best we could have expected for. And well, that was just the start. We were unbeaten through August, picking up 2 wins and 2 draws, and we'd fixed our goal scoring issues, with scoring 2 goals on average per game. September had a couple of difficult games, most notably against Ajax, where of course we were set to go a goal behind, but we were back ahead after a fantastic finish by Big Braut and an assist from that man Ties Oosting. They of course grabbed a late goal to tie the game up, but against Ajax we will certainly take a 2-2 draw. Again, we showed our goal scoring prowess as we faced off against Sparta Rotterdam, who were 2 goals up inside 15 minutes thanks to an own goal and one from Ibrahim Akane. Despite a goal from Lawrence on the 30th minute, we could not be stopped as last season's top goal scorer in January, Yenio Holder, grabbed his first of the season with a lovely curling effort into the bottom corner. Sparta certainly tried as they scored again, but Big Braut put the game to an end with a 4-2 victory. And well, would you believe it, FC Groningen sit joint top of the table on 18 points from a possible 24, having a superb unbeaten start. Could we be about to upset the odds and really challenge for the Eredivisie? Well, if we wanted to win the league, these were the games we were going to have to show who we were. Away against Feyenoord, we nearly took an early lead thanks to an outrageous pass from Winther, found Ivanovic bearing down on goal, but it was saved by Bilo. The one thing that we didn't need was to give away a penalty, but luckily VAR was on our side. We were able to keep possession and play our football to start, without Brunes playing his role perfectly, laying off Kane, who puts it just wide. Chances were coming, but just after half-time, Feyenoord took the lead thanks to a corner. We were not going to give up there though, as a great run from Prince and the right flank found a ball into Big Braut to tie the game up. Feyenoord were having their chances though. A great double save from Brolin kept the game at 1-1 with 20 to go, but it wasn't going to last forever. Our unbeaten streak ends as Timber scores and Feyenoord win 2-1. Heartbreaking scenes for FC Groningen. We also played PSV in October, where we held them to a 0-0 draw, and also FC Utrecht away from home. We were simply incredible. A 5-1 smashing with a whole host of goals scored, including a brace from last year's star man Ties Oosting and another for Big Braut. 12 games in, we were sitting just 7 points away from the top of the table, an unbeaten Feyenoord. This was going to be the last time though we were in touching distance, as in November we lost both of our games 2-0, scoring 0 goals. It has to be said though, the strength of the Eredivisie is certainly getting better, as AZ Alkmaar had Bobby Firmino up top. This was going to be a very difficult journey, not just to overtake the Eredivisie, but of course the eventual goal of winning the Champions League. There was a clear top 4 emerging at the top, so our goal was to finish 5th place and be considered as best of the rest. And well, quite frankly, that wasn't going to be helped thanks to our up and down form in December. We lost to NAC Breda, we beat Roda JC before drawing to Almere and losing to Pek Zwolle. This was not what I would class as top 5 form. The major plus side for the season though was clear to be seen that our goal scoring issues had been fixed. Braut Brunes has been an absolute game changer. 11 goals in 21 games is a stark difference to last season's strikers. Sadly though, even though we were in January, there was no money to help improve the team. Finances really weren't looking great, and we really needed to guarantee that we had European football next season, or maybe even a trophy this season. We had already knocked out Feyenoord and go-ahead Eagles to get to the quarterfinals of the Dutch Cup, where we blew away NEC thanks to a brace from Big Brout, but of course both goals assisted by Oosting before the favour was returned, and a lovely finish sending us into the semi-finals. We would be lucky enough to face up against second tier side Triple V Venlo. A game that certainly should have been easier, but we did run away 2-0 winners, and we set up a cup final against Ajax in April. Time for some good form to set us up. Yeah, maybe not. Our form was absolutely shocking. 3 losses and 1 draw. We now find ourselves with a lot to do and our team in a rut. We sit in 10th place, 6 points away from our target of 5th. We simply couldn't go into that final in poor form. So we had a team meeting, encouraged the lads, and they answered. While it was lucky, we still got the 3 points in a 2-1 victory over Utrecht, a convincing victory over go-ahead Eagles, and a 1-0 win over FC Twente. Thanks to them, we were back in the European race. But it was time for the big one. The cup final. We decided the best chance we had was to play our way, to play our 4-2-3-1 system against Ajax's 4-3-3. Could we upset the odds and win a trophy in our second season? Just 3 minutes in, Brian Brobery had a chance, but he was denied by Samuel Brolin. But a miracle came our way in 27 minutes as Renato Sanchez clattered into Valente and we got a pen. It was clearly tucked away by Ivanovic, the best start we could have hoped for. That was the first half in the books. There was very little action in the first half, and as things stood, FC Groningen were winning the Dutch Cup. We knew Ajax would come out strong in the second half. We just couldn't stop them, as Angel Di Maria grabs a goal to tie the game up. But what a response we had as we collect the ball before eventually it ends up with Joel Pelpasi on the edge of the box, who scores an absolute screamer. Could we potentially hold on? No. No, we couldn't. A mistake at the back sent Broby through to tie the game up, and again it was a slippery slope from there as Zendeja scores a wonderful effort to make it 3-2, and while we sent everyone forward, Ajax grabbed a penalty and won the game 4-2. Now, I have always been taught that when you lose in a cup final, you stand there and you watch the other team lift the trophy. While you may be upset, it makes you hungry to be what they are in 12 months' time. We will be back. Despite the heartbreak, we had to finish the season off strong. We needed as many points as possible to get back to 5th place and guarantees European football for season 3. So of course we lost to AZ Alkmaar, who, to be fair, are 4th place in the league by quite some distance. We then played NAC and dispatched of them thanks to 2 goals from our new signings, Kane and Big Brout, proving once again that the Moneyball signings are just fantastic. We then drew 0-0 against Roda, which took us into the final game of the season. We were 2 points clear of 6th place. Anything other than a loss and we were in European football for season 3. It was Almere that stood in our way and we were 2-0 up in no time at all. While they did grab a goal back, we were just simply too strong and we ran away 3-2 winners. We had secured 5th place and Europa League football was coming to Groningen next season. The main issue at the start of the season was the pure lack of chances created and lack of goals scored. And it's safe to say that with a 1.71 goal score per game, we certainly fixed that. Big Brown ran away with our golden boot, scoring 21. Behind him, it was shared between Oosting, Ivanovic and Kane, our deadly attacking midfield trio. Oosting again grabbed MVP of the season with a 7.12 average rating, grabbing 21 goal contributions. So season 2 was in the books then. We had finished in 5th place, securing ourselves as the best of the rest in the Eredivisie and getting to a Dutch Cup final. Thank you so much for watching the Groningen Moneyball story. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and keep your eye out for episode 2 in the coming days.